he was the servant of them, and they helped him to advance in his spiritual life because they gave him the opportunity to speak about Krishna. And by speaking about Krishna, you forget about Maya. So it's very beneficial to speak about Krishna because you have to remember Krishna the whole time. So I feel very blessed today. I'm allowed to speak on Ekadashi. We're reading from the Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22. And the chapter is called The Process of Devotional Service. Which verse is on the board? 10 or 15? Really? Okay, 15 is the purport. Okay, then we start by reading the verse first. Sai vipinam sachiva duita parakara. Sai vipinam sachiva duita prakara. Eka nitya mukta eka nitya samsara. Eka nitya mukta eka nitya samsara. Sai vipinam sachiva duita prakara. Eka nitya mukta eka nitya samsara. Please chant. Mataji's, ladies. Okay. Say vibhina amsa. Amsa. That separated part and parcel of Krishna. Jiva, the living entity. Dvaita prakara. Two categories. Eka, one. Nitya mukta, eternally liberated. Eka, one. Nitya samsara, perpetually conditioned. The living entities, jivas, are divided in two categories. Some are eternally liberated and others are eternally conditioned. Nitya mukta nitya Krishna charane unmukha Krishna parishada nama punja seva sukha. I will read now 4 more verses till verse 15, and then we have a purport. Those who are eternally liberated are always awake to Krishna consciousness, and they render transcendental loving service at the feet of Lord Krishna. They are to be considered eternal associates of Krishna, and they are eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. Nitya Bandha Krishna Haita Nitya Bahimukha Nitya samsara punchenara kari dukkha. Apart from the ever-liberated devotees, there are the conditioned souls who always turn away from the service of the Lord. They are perpetually conditioned in this material world and are subjected to the material tribulations brought about by different bodily forms in hellish conditions. Se doshe maya pisachi danda karitare, atyatmika ditapatraya tare chari mare. Due to his being opposed to Krishna consciousness, the conditioned soul is punished by the witch of the external energy, Maya. He is thus ready to suffer the threefold miseries brought about by the body and mind, the inimical behavior of other living entities, and natural disturbances caused by the demigods. Okay, now we have the last verse, 14 and 15 together. Kama krotera dasa hanna tara latikaya, pramite yadi sadhu vaidyapaya, tanra upadesha mantre pishachi palaya, Krishna bhakti paya tabe, Krishna nikata yaya. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes the servant of lusty desires. And when these are not fulfilled, he becomes the servant of anger and continues to be kicked by the external energy, Maya. Wandering throughout the universe, he may by chance get the association of a devotee physician, whose instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. The conditioned soul thus gets into touch with devotional service to Lord Krishna, and in this way he can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord. Purport. An explanation of verse 8 through 15 is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. The Lord is spread throughout the creation in his quadruple expansions and incarnations. Krishna is fully represented with all potencies in each and every personal extension. But the living entities, although separated expansions, are also considered one of the Lord's energies. The living entities are divided into two categories: the eternally liberated and the eternally conditioned. Those who are ever liberated never come in contact with Maya, the external energy. The ever conditioned souls are always under the clutches of the external energy. This is described by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya turatyaya. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. The Nitya Baddhas are always conditioned by the external energy, and the Nitya Muktas never come in contact with the external energy. Sometimes an ever-liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe, just as the Lord descends. Although working for the liberation of the conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Generally, ever-liberated personalities live in the spiritual world as associates of Lord Krishna, and they are known as Krishna Parishad, associates of the Lord. Their only business is enjoying Lord Krishna's company, and even though such eternally liberated persons come within this material world to serve the Lord's purpose, they enjoy Lord Krishna's company without stoppage. The ever-liberated person who works on Krishna's behalf enjoys Lord Krishna's company through his engagement. The ever-conditioned soul, provoked by lusty desires to enjoy the material world, is forced to transmigrate from one body to another. Sometimes he is elevated to higher planetary systems, and sometimes he is degraded to hellish planets and subjected to the tribulations of the external energy. Due to being conditioned by the external energy, The conditioned soul within this material world gets two kinds of bodies, a gross material body and a subtle material body, composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Due to the gross and subtle bodies, he is subjected to the threefold miseries, Adhyatmika, Adibautika, and Adidevika. Miseries arising from the body and mind and other living entities, and natural disturbances caused by demigods from higher planetary systems. The conditioned soul, subjected to the threefold miseries, is ceaselessly kicked by Maya, and this is his disease. If by chance he meets a saintly person who works on Krishna's behalf to deliver conditioned souls, and if he agrees to abide by his order, he can gradually approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Everything clear? Yeah. Chanting, invoking some auspicious prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananshana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadyadesh Atharine Vancha Kalpa Drupescha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll read the verse again. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes the servant of lusty desires, and when these are not fulfilled, he becomes the servant of anger and continues to be kicked by the external energy, Maya. Wandering and wandering throughout the universe, he may by chance get the association of a devotee physician, whose instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. The conditioned soul thus gets in touch with devotional service to Lord Krishna, and in this way he can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord. Yeah, beautiful verses and purport describing the condition of us and the conditions of those we would like to follow and serve, take inspiration from, and hopefully at one point in our life can really follow their footsteps and embody their mood of devotion. The Nitya Muktas, Nitya Siddhas, the eternally liberated souls, and we, the Nitya Baddhas, the eternally fallen, entangled souls in this material world. And it says it's so long we are entangled in this world that we can't trace back when was the beginning. So many lifetimes, in so many births, 8,400,000 species of life. If you think about, even the scientists nowadays, they also have approximately the same number, but they count only the beasts and animals and insects and water animals, aquatics, birds, and humans. But according to Vedic scriptures, it is described that there are 400,000 human body forms, forms who have the body of a human, and that we find in higher planetary systems. But that will be another milestone for society or science to accept that there's other living beings spread in this universe. Now they're really eager to trying to fly to the Mars. Apparently they already went to the moon. Next destination Mars, destroying whole planet Earth, and then let's go to the next planet and enjoy. I mean, it's an amazing idea, but on the same time it's stupid. What are we going to do on planet Mars? Can we live there? Can we I mean, there's nothing, there's no, I mean, according to their, how you say, they send their devices up there and researched everything. But who knows if this is true? I mean, we believe everything what we see in television, right? Video comes from Veda. What Veda, the root, also we find later in German, English language, video. Video, vid, to see, vidya, realized knowledge. But real knowledge we don't get from the media or from science. I mean, partially we get knowledge from science, but many times they contradict themselves and find after some time that it was more unscience than science, what they try to make us believe. But real video, real knowledge we get from Vedas. And when we hear all these descriptions and all the saints who speak, Srimad-Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami, they were not just hearing and speaking, they were really seeing what they were saying. They were self-realized. They could really enter. When Shukadev Goswami spoke, it was not just some thoughts or some verses he memorized. He could really enter into these pastimes, and he could really transmit it by vocal, by speaking. And that's why it's so, for us still after 5,000 years, we can still enter into these pastimes. We can still enter into this knowledge by just, with an open heart, listen properly. Srinvadam, Svagata Krishna, Punya Shavana, Kirtana, Vidantyasto, Yabhatrani, Vidinoti, Surit Sadam. In Bhagavatam it says the personality of Godhead is seated in the heart of all living entities as the super soul, the Param Atma. We, the soul, are also sitting in the heart. And it's described in the Vedas like, it's another verse, but I just think it's appropriate to combine. And it's described that there's two birds sitting, and one bird, us, the living entity, is enjoying the fruits of this tree, the tree of material nature, the fruits of sense enjoyment. And the other bird, Paramatma, he also sits there, and he looks, he observes. Anumanta Upadrashta. He is the allowance giver, he allows us to enjoy, and he also sits there and observes us and waiting. And you can see like this one bird is looking to us. There's a nice book from a devotee in America, Sukhavana Mataji, and this book is called Finding the Gap. It's two books actually. Entering the Gap, first is Finding the Gap, second one Entering the Gap. And it's a very nice story, how to approach Krishna, how to really, what is the gap, what is missing between me, the soul, and the gap to really connect with the Lord. And on the cover of the book are two birds, and one bird is trying to eat some fruits, looking away, and then the bird in orange and the bird in blue. The super soul is looking to the other bird, just waiting to turn towards him. And then the second part, the cover of the book, the bird already turned to the Lord. So now he's ready to enter the gap. And Srimad Svagata Krishna, when we hear this transcendental sound vibration, Vishnu is in all our hearts, and he is the benefactor. He really cares about his devotees, and he will cleanse us of our material desires. Alone if we only have the desire to hear the transcendental sound vibration, Krishna already will work. That we came here today, it's already a success. I drove here today in the morning, and nobody was driving, and then I realized, it's Saturday morning, everyone is sleeping, and usually in 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, Knaus is very busy. But there was no cars, I could drive very fast, follow the speed limit, to come quickly to the temple. But it was nice, nobody was then. I realized everyone is sleeping because everyone was celebrating yesterday, and people don't know about waking up in the morning, taking a shower, performing some spiritual practice, some rituals, chanting the holy names, coming together with saintly persons and chant the holy names together and hear the transcendental glories of the Lord. And just by having this desire, it's already, we can cleanse our hearts of so many impurities. And that's why we hear, like when you ask devotees, what is the most important devotional practice? And we have these 9 processes: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, prayers, becoming a friend of the Lord, serving the Lord, having the lotus feet of the Lord, surrendering everything. Everyone will say something different. Even the acharyas always say something different. Sometimes it says it's shravanam, hearing, because everything starts with hearing, right? How can you know about Krishna if you never hear about him? Then others say, no, the Yuga Dharma is actually chanting, kirtan, because if you chant, you also hear, and you can't chant before, if you don't hear before, you can't chant, and if you don't chant, you don't get the taste for hearing, and it's like this loop. Just yesterday I read, the main process of devotional service is smaranam, to always remember the Lord. But first we need to perfect chanting and hearing. Yeah. And then it will be easy to always remember the Lord. Sprichst du Englisch jetzt mittlerweile? Oder? Ne? Was jemand übersetzen mag. Oder du genießt das in Englisch auch, okay. So, yeah, but just, he also hears, he doesn't even speak English fully, but he's here to hear. And just by hearing Krishna Katha, we get purified. Amazing, huh? So smaranam, to remember always the Lord. And this will be the, so to say, the topic, the line of this lecture. And there was a few points Prabhupada made in the purport, and also we hear it in the commentary from Bhaktivinoda Thakur and in the other verses. And there's two categories, the Nitya Baddhas, the Nitya Muktas, eternally liberated, and the eternally conditioned souls. And I think I don't need to point out who is who in this constellation. I think everyone will know by themselves where we are at the moment. And we get entangled because we think this material nature, we get bewildered from this material nature. We identify with our body, with our mind, with our intelligence, with our false ego, with Bhumi, Apo, Nalavayu, with the earth, water, fire, all these elements, ether, air. And we don't understand that actually we're not really part of this material world, even though we are in this world. And sometimes we say we have a soul, right? Or we having a spiritual experience, but actually we are the soul, we are the spiritual experience. And sometimes we have a material experience. Sometimes we are eternally conditioned, so we always have a body in one way or another. But we have sometimes actually a material experience. We are always the spiritual soul, but we are covered by the three modes of nature. Like Prabhupada said here nicely, or in the verse it says, the witch Maya. Yeah. And we think we enjoy this witch. We think we can exploit and we can really find fulfillment in this material world. And there is also truth in certain degrees that you find joy and peace and harmony and fulfillment. But for how long? Yeah. Because the witch Maya is never sleeping. And the witch Maya is actually not such a witch. She is a very dedicated servant of the Lord and here to help us. Yeah. Maya is not our enemy, but because we separate ourselves from divinity, we separate ourselves from the Lord, we create our own bondage, our own prison, our own condition. And Maya only tries to help us to get purified, wants to test us to see if we are ready for the next step. It's like playing a computer game. Super Mario. And then you always fail at one boss, you can't. And then 20 years ago, I remember there was no memory card. You always have to start from the beginning. Nowadays, you can just continue. Yeah. But also you sometimes experience, you make some progress and life is changing, everything is happening. And all of a sudden, old habits or some doubts or some qualities come up, some quarrel with some loved ones. And we go back to old patterns and try to again degrade ourselves with our own mind. Not knowing actually these tests, all these hurdles and difficulties are made by Maya for us to advance. Yeah. Even if you're not Krishna conscious, even if you just live a normal material life, every one of us is progressing. Everyone burns karma just by breathing every day, by walking, by whatever you do. you transform, you evolve. Yeah, but what to speak if you consciously try to change, consciously try to make the best out of a bad bargain? Yeah. Because this material body, I mean, I like this when Prabhupada said, when somebody asked him, Prabhupada, you brought all this knowledge from India to the West, and what you want to achieve, like you want to introduce this Indian culture here, and in India the death rate is so high, And then Prabhupada said, I don't know what you're speaking. Death rate is 100% everywhere. It's not high in India, it's not high in America or lower. Its death rate is everywhere, same. And then, if I remember correctly, then somebody asked Prabhupada, another reporter came because this one was defeated. I think then a lady came and then she asked, Prabhupada, why, it was a lady, she said, why you all have shaved heads? What's the use? And then he said, what's the use of shaving your legs? Like better warm legs and a cool head. And then another one came and asked, so Prabhupada, what happens when you distribute this Krishna consciousness in the whole world and everyone will become a devotee and a follower of Krishna? He said, no worries, this will never happen. There will be always fools like you. Like really funny. But I don't know, I think we can't say this out in the outside, but Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was an eternally liberated soul. Yeah. And when you see from Prabhupada's life, from early childhood, he was Krishna conscious. He was like born into being a devotee. And eternally liberated souls, they never get conditioned. They don't suffer like we suffer. And even you saw Prabhupada at the end of his life, the doctor said it's not imaginable that he can survive this pain he must have. It's like razor-sharp blades cutting his body from the inside. And he didn't take any medication. He was translating Srimad-Bhagavatam till the very end, because his body was completely transcendental. He couldn't feel the pain. Or when we see Bhakti Tirtha Swami, there's some videos in his last stage of his life. Or my Gurudev, when he left his body, was chanting till the end. Also, doctor also said he has so much pain, like from the cancer, like without medication. They don't know how he survives. He's still breathing. He was still chanting his 16 rounds till the end. Even his guru said, no, you don't need to chant anymore. You can just continue your bhajan and go back to Krishna. And he said, no, I have to set an example for my disciples. How can I ask him to chant Hare Krishna if I don't chant myself? So till the very last moment he was chanting. So we can see this. We don't know, we can't say we are in our condition who is eternally liberated and who is conditioned. We can see in the scriptures. But we can see in devotees there's a change, and all of a sudden they're not on this material platform anymore. Devi heshe gunamayi mama maya turatyaya mam evaye prapatyante mayam etam tarantite. That this divine energy of mine, consisting of these three modes of this material nature, sattva guna, rajaguna, tamaguna, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we're all influenced by this day in, day out. We eating prasadam, completely transcendental, but then there's also modes in how we eat prasadam. Or there's modes how we come to the temple. We want to get some blessings for our family, and probably we want something from the Lord. Or we come here, maybe just woke up, rolling out of the sleeping bag, didn't even shower, and just come here because it's expected from us, tamasik. Or you sattvic, you come here, you want to render some service, or you come here because you're so eager, you want to see the Lord, you can't survive the day if you don't see the Lord, your heart is racing, and completely transcendental. And so it's different modes. We're always under these influences of these modes. But whoever surrenders to the Lord, he can cross beyond it. He will be protected by his divine energy. Otherwise, because Maya is divine, it's Krishna's energy. But if we doing our own thing and thinking we are so great and we are the controllers and the doers and we are the enjoyers of this world, Ishvaraham aham bhogi. I'm the controller and I'm the enjoyer. This is our usually mentality. Then Krishna can't help us. It's like the father wants to help his son, but the son doesn't accept his help and taking drugs and running away from home and doing all kinds of stupid things. But the father still loves his son and tries to help him in any way possible, and waiting for the sun to come back, but the sun is not listening. We're in the same condition. Yeah? Krishna wants to help us, but we know better. We want to do our own thing. We got stuck in teenage life, rebellion, puberty. We're like in spiritual puberty. all of us rebellious, and it's still there even after years and years of chanting, and some more, some less. But we all have this small rebellious nature, separatist mentality, that we think ourselves separate from the Lord, that we think we can get something out of this world other than real joy in Krishna Bhakti. Because the happiness, what comes here, it's usually out of Rajaguna, out of lust. And this happiness is always connected with pain and suffering. So there's never pure happiness. Yeah? We all know, enjoy it as long as it lasts, because after that, the balance comes. As long as we live in these dualities, we'll always experience happiness and distress. But actually, happiness itself is not just happening to us. Happiness is also a choice. And some might agree, some might disagree. But in my experience, it's my choice to be happy. Alone, if I change and if I say, okay, I want to live sattvic, I want to be clean, my house is clean, my body is clean, the way I eat is clean, I don't watching, for example, TV, I don't go to cinema, I read spiritual literature, I associate with saintly people, I give donations, I try to help, do something for humanity, or even for Krishna consciousness. Living a sattvic life, it's my choice, right? Or I can choose, I want to enjoy, I want to go on holiday, I want to drink alcohol, whatever, all kinds of enjoyments. Yeah. So it's always our choice. And Rajaguna means suffering. Sattvaguna, the signs of being in a mode of purity, goodness, cleanliness, means knowledge, and happiness. And I experienced that since I tried to more consciously live more sattvic. Like alone food, if you eat like Sunday feast, today Saturday, we will probably eat a lot. And then after that we will all suffer. Oh God, I ate too much paneer. And, It's Rajaguna. We had this joy, and immediately our body will thank you later. Yeah. But we can also eat sattvic. Eat a little bit less. Take maybe 1/3 less. And when you're done, you just make a plate. You're done. You eat slow. You eat conscious. You focus on it's the Lord prasadam. Every bite I really relish, and then we eat in a sattvic mood, and we live in a sattvic mood. I don't know, in India it's very common chili. I also big fan of chili, like spicy food, but it's very rajasic. It creates lots of fire and disturbances in the body. And of course, some things is good to the chest. Yeah. Or we have cheese. Is cheese sattvic? It's a milk product. Sattvic tamas. It's also like fermented cheese. Paneer is sattvic food. Yeah. So we have always these mixed modes. It's like the colors red, blue, and what we have? Yellow. Yeah. Everything we see is made out of these three colors. Also, the three modes of material nature are these three colors, and they're always intertwined. We can never be pure in goodness in this material body. Because pure goodness, like Rajaguna means digestion, moving, working, blinking of the eyes. It's all made possible by the mode of passion, or going to sleep. Ignorance is tamaguna. It's also important. We need some sleep. Yeah. If you transcend this, or if you live a sattvic lifestyle, you don't need so much sleep anymore, because you don't eat so much, you clean, you sleep 5-6 hours, and you feel nourished. Yeah. If you sleep, like I need 7 hours of sleep, then I feel good, because I'm still so much tamaguna in me. Yeah. So if I would sleep now every day 5-6 hours, I would be every day really tired. And it would be sattvic to wake up early, but also it will not be good for the long run. Yeah. So for my health. So you have to see this is always mixed. It's not bad or good. Yeah. But when you see the acharyas, they couldn't sleep at all. Did you ever experience festival and there was so much kirtan and programs, and then in the evening you don't want to go to bed, you're so in anxiety and ecstatic, and in the night you can't even sleep, you still hear the holy name and you wake up all the time. And then look at the clock, oh, it's only 1 o'clock. wanted to wake up at 4, and then you're so full of anxiety, you have to wake up, you have to chant. And because all of a sudden you went out of this material conception of body and mind and sleep and the modes. Yeah, Krishna took you and shook you, and all of a sudden you're inspired to surrender and go deep into your practice. Okay, I don't think I need to speak so much about this topic about lust. Was also, that the main reason why we conditioned is this lust. And Arjuna asked Krishna, like, what is Krishna said, I had a few verses here. The blessed Lord said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath. And it is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Yeah. And then he said, there's 3 gates leading to hell. Lust, anger, and greed. And it all starts first, we observe, we see something. I like to give this example of a smoker. I was a smoker myself many years ago, and it's relatable maybe. Like, I stopped smoking. Yeah, let's see, for 1 week I didn't smoke. I'm happy and proud, and then I see someone smoking, and then I think about, anyways, I feel better now. I don't smoke anymore. And somebody smokes next to me. I smell the smoke, and maybe it's still a little bit not so open to smoke again. Yeah. But then it happens every day. Everyone smokes, and people offering cigarettes, and I don't like this example actually. Feels so dramatic just to talk about it. But anyways, let's just continue. And then at one point, you think about it, you contemplate. It was nice after eating, drinking your coffee, having a cigarette, and why not, and the seed is already planted, and you might think, okay, I will not smoke, I will be strict, but the seed is planted just by contemplating, thinking about it. Yeah. And then this lust comes, like you want to buy the cigarettes, but you can't because you said you stop, and then it's so overwhelming. You're out of yourself. You can't even think properly. Your intelligence gets lost, and you get angry when somebody aggravates you. We all experience this. Like when we want something, I know it for my family life. I have a plan. I want something, but then my wife needs me in a different area, and sometimes I'm not so maybe humble and in a service attitude, and I can feel some anger is coming up. Yeah. Because I had my desire, I want to do this now, and I want to read, and I have my program, and tomorrow I want to wake up. Yeah. So from these desires, we get easily angry, and then we lose our intelligence, we contemplate about these objects, and then we smoke again. It can happen so quickly. I saw for many friends, I know from my own life before I came to the temple, I tried so much things to stop certain things, but it always came back, because it's so deeply in us, the samskaras in our subconscious mind. It's so deeply ingrained. There's a nice verse I found recently. An unchaste wife can kill her husband at any time. And an uncontrolled mind, followed by lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, and illusion, can certainly kill the yogi. Yeah. And we hear here also that we had so many lifetimes in this whole universe, Brahmanda, up and down, Pramita, Brahmanda, Kone, Bhagavan Chief, Krishna, Guru Krishna Prasade by Bhaktilata Beach. In this verse it's described that we have so many different life forms in this universe we took, and we had so many experiences up and down, higher planetary systems, lower planetary systems. But somehow or other, we achieved now this human form of life. We are now in this body. Yeah. And on top of it, somehow or other, all of us here right now, we got the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Yeah. We somehow heard about Krishna. Yeah. We somehow got the unconditional mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Or you're born in your own tradition, in your family, out of your previous activities, previous life. Yeah. So, but at one point we came in contact with this mercy, and Guru and Krishna, they planted the seed of bhakti. And we don't even know like what's happening to us. And we see people transforming, coming here, don't know what's going on, just watching a little bit, and then they start singing a little bit, and then they moving a little bit, and dancing, and then next day they ask, can you also chant Hare Krishna? Then you show them how to chant, and then come to Srimad-Bhagavatam class, and then they realize, oh, this food is so good here, then they eat, and then it's too late anyways. Then it's like, you know too much, can't leave anymore. But then something happens in the heart also. Krishna works on you, he purifies your heart. And then you get changed. And yeah, it's described here that we wander in this universe, but we are depending on the mercy of the on the liberated souls, who come to us and give us spiritual knowledge. This association is the most important. Also for us, I was not here now many months much because recently got a son in November, and I can feel the association is very uplifting. Just to come here today in the morning, I couldn't sleep anymore. I had to come, like before the alarm was going on. I did puja quickly, chanting, and came here. And I had this inspiration, just to know I'm with devotees today. I can do kirtan and speak about Krishna. And so it's so important, this association. When we have festivals, then weeks before we're already like preparing and thinking about whom to meet, and this Swami comes and I want to hear from them, and then I have no time of service in this time, and then you already get mental, but you're happy in the same time because you can serve, because you're eager for the association. And we can see, if I would tell you now, for 1 week, you can't hear Srimad-Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, you can't read any spiritual literature, you can't even eat prasadam. You have to eat in Jandelsbrunn at the kebab store every day. Vegetarian, but and you're not allowed to chant Hare Krishna. How would you feel? No commentaries. And then we can actually see how much our mind is already a devotee. And we think always, we're so conditioned and we're so fallen. But actually, we're already attached to Krishna. I mean, I couldn't survive if I have to fast one day, I can do because it's for Krishna and we go deeper in our spiritual practice. But fasting and not chanting, Kripa Sindhu, can you do that? Difficult. Also, what's the use of fasting? Okay, health reasons maybe. Yeah, but it's beauty, the beauty of the association. And we can see the best example came in my mind was Upaparhana. Someone knows who is Upaparhana? Upaparhana. Yeah. Once upon a time, I'll tell a short story, okay? Just to illustrate the importance of association. There was a Gandhava in the heavenly planets, and his name, Upaparhana, was someone who's very beautiful and can glorify and sing very beautiful kirtans. And he was singing and glorifying the Lord. Did kirtan for the Lord. And at one occasion there was a big sacrifice, and the demigods were all present, and this Gandhava was also there, and he was glorifying the Lord. And then he saw some apsaras coming, and he got a little bit bewildered, and then he started singing some other songs and glorified different personalities, and the demigods got very, upset with him. So they started cursing him and told him, you're in such high position now, you're Gandhava, beautiful, beautiful voice, you're allowed to glorify the Lord, but in your next life you will become a Shudra. You will be the son of a maidservant, how you call maid. And in the next life, this Gandhava was born again and became a Shudra. And he was a small boy, and his mother, she was serving some saints, and they were always speaking about Krishna Katha. And also this boy, I don't know, the name is not written, but later we will reveal it. So this boy was always hearing from the saints. He got the remnants, the food remnants. Every day he cleaned the plates, and then he had remnants. And he got purified in his heart by hearing and by eating their remnants. And at one point, can't remember, but his mother died from a snake bite. Can't remember exactly how it was, but the boy was alone, and he was very young. But he was grieving, of course, but also he was somehow remembering the instructions of the sages. And he realized this was Krishna's mercy. My mother died now from a snake bite. Now I have time. Now it's for my turn to really connect with the Lord. And he was starting to meditate about Lord Vishnu, forehand form of Lord Vishnu. And as he was meditating for some period of time, Vishnu even appeared. And in his heart, he saw he had a darshan of the Lord. And the boy was completely like, imagine now you darshan Nishingadev appears, he's already here, but also you see him all of a sudden in your heart, in front of you. Your hairs are standing on end, your body is shaking, you lose your voice, you don't know what to say, you're crying, full of ecstasy. Like the greatest pleasure you experience in this world times infinity. And he saw the Lord, and the Lord said to him, there's still some remnants of material desires and impurities in your heart. So you will see me only once in this lifetime. But you will gain so much, how you say, the eagerness, the lolium, and the strong greed to see me again. And in that way you will get purified and will become a pure devotee. And imagine Krishna appears in your heart. And finally you see him. I mean, I'm a little bit, when I read this recently, I was like a little bit scared. Because I thought like, okay, this boy is like a sage from 5,000 years ago or whatever. And in previous life a Gandhava, and he was with these pure devotees. And he had a darshan of the Lord in their heart. What if I ever have a darshan of the Lord and then he disappears and he tells me you will never see me again in this lifetime? Would be difficult. Or if like now I get kicked out of ISKCON, I say something wrong in this class, and then GBC comes. Advaita Simha, you're not allowed in any temple anymore. I would be like, what? Can't see Shingadev anymore. That would be already devastating. But imagine you really had darshan in the heart, and Krishna appeared, but also in the same time, you longing for this vision again, and by having this strong desire to see the Lord, you already be with the Lord, because this is the mood of our whole tradition, love and separation. And we all know this. I don't know, but probably most of you had a boyfriend or girlfriend or is married, and when everything starts in the beginning and then you fall in love. And imagine like a few years ago, I mean, when I started dating, when I was 10, 11, I remember I got my first phone, like a big phone, Alcatel, with a big antenna, and to call each other. Was very young, I know, but just saying. But imagine like 10 years before, there was no phone so easily, or 100 years. In this time you didn't start just dating, it was a different tradition. But just saying, you're separated and you can't talk to the person, and you always think about the person when you're in love, especially when it's fresh, and you can't meet, and she thinks about you, he thinks about her, and this strong separation, intensifies the love. And then finally you meet, and then you get married, move together, and you realize, oh no, what have I done? No, it's not always like this. But then you see already we have to work with each other. But this also with Krishna will be different, because he's the supreme friend, the supreme lover. And when we meet finally Krishna, we will not be disappointed. But in the material life, it's always happiness and distress. And if we really get this desire to see the Lord, like really longing, like we chanting, we can't stop chanting, we can't stop hearing, we can't stop associating with devotees. When the flower comes, not just like, okay, next one. You get the flower of the Lord and you smell it, and you're complete in ecstasy. Like everything reminds you on the Lord when you see the blue sky, so beautiful, like the monsoon clouds in India when there's rainy seasons. And you remember Krishna. Or then sometimes the pujaris in festival time, they have yellow dhotis on, and then, wow, yellow dhoti, Krishna. Or whatever you see, like you see the beauty in the nature, flowers, and then, wow, I can make some nice flower gardens, offer it to Krishna. And you're completely mad just thinking about Krishna. And this boy later, when he took birth again, he was born out of Brahma's mind, and this boy became Narada Muni. And he was born in a spiritual body, and he was allowed to travel anywhere. He's the spiritual spaceman, we say sometimes. He can go to any place at any moment, just like that. And he also has darshan of the Lord. He went to Dwaraka where Krishna was present in 16,108 forms. And he was able to visit all the palaces of Krishna. And in many pastimes, Narada Muni comes, and he always does something a little bit tricky to invoke the pastimes of the Lord. Yeah. He helps the demons, looks like, so that the Lord comes quicker. Yeah. So Narada Muni. And all this happened, like we can see the association. First, we might be nice, glorifying the Lord, singing, but then we shift, maybe we sing for something else. Yeah, we see some nice Mataji's dancing, and then we all of a sudden singing for the girls, making an impression. And then these impurities come, and maybe we have to take birth again. But maybe we are lucky, and we also again hear from devotees about the Lord. Yeah, then our heart gets purified, step by step. Every time we hear Krishna, yeah, then there's no, like Bhaktisiddhanta said, there's no bad publicity. Even if they write in newspaper bad about Krishna, it's still Krishna's holy name in the newspaper. And we get purified step by step. And then at one point will happen like us to Narada Muni. We will be liberated souls. We get a spiritual body. And actually I don't care anymore if it's in this life or in the next or in 10 lives. As long as I can continue my process with all of you beautiful souls, I'm completely happy. And of course my desire is somewhere in the back, in this lifetime I would like to go back to Krishna, to the spiritual realm. But if not, then in the next or 2-3 more lifetimes, who cares, no? It's just, yeah, as long as I don't forget Krishna. This is the only instruction. Actually, I wanted to talk more about this point, but to remember Krishna. Smatavyo sadatam Vishnu, vismatavyo nachatu chit, save vidhi nishedesyo, etayor eva kinkaraha. Vismata, remember. Yeah. The only instruction, why we read all the scriptures, why we do what we do, serves only one purpose, and only one. And this is only the only rule and the only prohibition. The do and the don'ts. Yeah. The one is always remember Krishna. And the second one is never forget him. So simple. Yeah. And all the real scriptures serving this purpose, that we understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna. And we always think about Krishna. I mean, nowadays people talk about manifestation, everything. You have to be careful what you think, because then you will feel. There's this saying, be careful of your thoughts, because it becomes your words becomes your actions, your action becomes your destiny. And we hear all these people speaking about, be careful what you think. If you really would realize this one point, be careful what we think, because we create our whole reality. But we can add on top, be careful what you think materially, think about Krishna, because then everything will be auspicious. Yeah. Be careful that you forget Krishna. Yeah. This is what Queen Kunti prays. May all the calamities happen again and again. And nobody of us experienced so much pain like Queen Kunti. Her grandsons died. She lost her first son, Kana. She had to give her away. Her whole dynasty, all her friends, loved ones died, and only a few were left at the end after Kurukshetra. So much pain, so much suffering. But still she prayed, please let be the suffering coming again and again. All these calamities happen again and again. Why? Because when I suffer the most, I will remember Krishna. I will remember you. And this is my only hope. Please let me never forget you. I want to suffer as long as I can remember you. I mean, this is a prayer I don't want to pray for myself, because I suffer already a lot and I'm not in the platform of Queen Kunti. But it's amazing just that we realize this one point. If we can always think about Krishna, arrange our way before we do everything else. People say work from 9 to 5. It's the most important time. You go do your job, you get your money, you get your life done, you get successful. Yeah. But we say, no, we work from 5 to 9. It's the most important time. Yeah. Waking up before Brahma Muhurta, doing our japa, doing our spiritual duties, and having taste and fun and connect and associate. And then at 9 o'clock, we're so charged, full of Krishna consciousness, and then we go to our work. And then it's easy to remember Krishna. And everyone who will meet us will also remember Krishna, because we will always talking about Krishna, thinking about Krishna, offering people prasadam, books, holy name. or just by being ourselves. We don't need to even give them anything. Just, people have association with a devotee. It's already very auspicious. Okay, I end here. There's 5 more minutes for questions, or if there's some comments, reflections, feedback, please speak now. Or how you say in English, or be quiet forever. Like in a wedding. Give us into Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. You mentioned that in the end this kind of quote by Kundalini, which is quite famous, that these calamities, this suffering, as you said, come more and more and again. So in the end it is a blessing actually, because then I will come nearer to you. So this is a great blessing. And in this regard I also thought sometime, she's praying for herself, but also we could think, Krishna, please let this calamities and suffering come all over the whole world, more and more and again, not only me, but let all the others also suffer like that, so that they come to you. Would you sanction this mood and attitude as a Vaishnava mood, or would you say, no, this is not Vaishnava-like, or what would you say to this?
Yeah, I understand and can relate to this concept. I mean, when we suffer, we tend to turn to the Lord. It's so easy. Like when I suffered the most when I was 14, I don't tell you exactly what happened, but immediately, and before I was not sure, I was like some years, I was thinking, no, it's like we're all coming from the apes, the Big Bang, and God maybe is not even real. And then I suffered, and immediately I prayed, oh God, please help me, and like I cried, and I prayed so much, even though I didn't believe in God. Like for a few years, I was like agnostic or kind of. But then I prayed so much, and I was like, a few days I was thinking about God and praying to Him, because I was suffering. And that's why this material world is like this, is made of suffering. Also Buddha says, we can only get self-realized. Like he saw the suffering, his father took him out to the kingdom, and he was hidden from the suffering the whole time. He was a small boy and had fun, and everything was beautiful. And then he saw death and disease, and nowadays what society is doing actually, the hiding death, the hiding everything, the old people in the old homes, the sick people in the hospitals. In some parts, when I was in Mayapur last time, like somebody died, they just burned him, everyone was there, was a big celebration, put the body in the Ganges, like there's yogis, they going even to these crematories, and they meditate about death. Or like Keshav Swami, he always says, they did as brahmacharis, they came together, and they meditated about their own death, and how would other people perceive them and talk about them, just to, what did I contribute to this world? Like, how would I feel if I would leave my body? So yeah, in one sense, this suffering is needed, and it's anyways there, even if you pray or not. But recently, I also heard from a devotee and read a book, and then is laws of a happy life, and then is this prayer. What is the prayer? Sukha Bhavana Loka. This prayer, Savanta, in Bhavata Loka. This prayer for may peace everywhere. Yeah, forgotten all the Sanskrit. And then in his first line, he says, "May there be happiness for everyone." And he prays every day before he goes to bed. He prays to Krishna that may everyone be happy, everyone be healed and satisfied, like be everyone Krishna conscious. So yeah, personally, I can relate to this more. I feel better when I pray for the well-being of others. But I think also it is necessary that we get our portion of suffering. I mean, I needed it a lot in my life. And every time I suffer, I come closer to the Lord. So it has its benefits. But also, sometimes we come closer to the Lord, or most of the times when we not suffer. When we have good times, and we associate, and we have festivals, and we are ecstatic. And if I have to prefer one of these two sufferings, I prefer the ecstasy, definitely. But yeah, thank you for the point.
It's the book about Prabhu.
Yeah. I read this. Was good. He speaks about how the sun works, influences us, and he made me think about, hey, actually, I can decide to be happy just by changing the modes of nature, associate more with mode of goodness. I'm more happy, and it works. And of course, there's some distress, but even if there's distress outside, it's just the voice inside telling us, oh no, everything is terrible. But we can be detached. We identify with this world, that's where we suffer. But if you understand, hey, we take everything so serious, but if I know I'm devotee of the Lord, everything is fine. Nobody can take the holy name away from me. They can cut my tongue, they can cut off my ears, they can take my chapamala away, I can still chant the holy name. Okay, if I have a brain damage, it will be difficult. Yeah, but yeah, we always. That's all I need. Everything comes from there. But as long as we have desires, we're living in a lack. Like we want something, we want to buy a car, then we're living in lack, and we want to enjoy something in the outside, in the future. Yeah? Not knowing everything we have already in us with the spiritual soul. And then we identify with these objects instead, like we are conscious of the objects instead of being conscious of ourselves, conscious about Krishna. And from there the real pleasure comes. And we all, devotees experience there's so much pain and suffering sometimes, even in our own life, health-wise or friendship-wise, but still the joy we experience, even in difficult times, still overweights. Because Krishna consciousness is absolute, is Purnam, complete. Don't need anything else. But it's okay to have desires, but then at least connected with the Lord. Yeah. Yeah.
Just a question about this, because I was thinking about this, eternally conditioned living. So there are two classes, the eternally liberated and then eternally conditioned. So if we are eternally conditioned, you understand my dilemma, because I read about this and I was okay. So eternally means for a very long time, then. So not eternally, but there is always the chance that we are. How does this work?
I don't know.
If we get liberated, if we become Krishna conscious, and then, so if we go back, then we cannot be conditioned.
We can separate these words because the eternal condition and the eternal liberated souls, they're both eternal because the soul is eternal, without beginning, without end. So this part we are. Yeah. But then some of us are conditioned, some of us are liberated. But you can't say actually eternal. It's translated like this, and in Sanskrit it's nitya bada, eternally conditioned souls. Yeah, but that means forever conditioned. Yeah, because no beginning, no end. Yeah. But I see it more like I'm the eternal soul, yeah, and now I'm temporary in this eternal conditioned state. Yeah. Our conception, vocabulary, and understanding is.
I understand your point. Now I understand, because in Sanskrit
but,
so much. English is very simple, and
but when you
cannot translate like.
But when you read what is the difference between liberated and conditioned souls, is liberated souls, they never suffer like we do. Like even the Pandavas, they suffer, but this was pastime of the Lord. They come directly from the spiritual world to help the Lord in His pastimes, and they come with a message to help the other conditioned souls to get liberated. They don't suffer the same way we do.
But there is spiritual suffering, so-called.
Yeah, they have separation, they have emotions. It's still real for them. But I can't speak for them because I'm not on that side of the nityas. Yeah. Sorry, I can't fully answer this.
Just like, because if I understand, Krishna put Arjuna in ignorance so that he can then speak the Bhagavad Gita so that he benefits us. So benefits everybody. Because Arjuna, normally, as you say, he's Nitya Siddha. Yes, okay. Thank you. No, I'm not used to this.
It's okay. So, yeah. Thank you.
So then, that's the. Okay.
We have to stop. If there's one more question, I can answer. Yeah? Hey, where are you coming from?
So Stas Prabhu is asking, how can you really get rid of bad habits for good so that they never come back?
That's a good one. Yeah, they never come back. There's some Anarthas, some unwanted, unerwünschte Eigenschaften, unwanted qualities or habits we have, what is very difficult to overcome, what will stay with us the whole life. I have something I carry with me in my subconscious mind. Samskara is so deep, it will be there till the rest of my life. But as long as I engage myself in devotional service, keep my mind engaged in chanting of the holy name, my body clean, and associated with mode of goodness, being in sattva. There's no need, there's nothing comes to bring me in this direction. When I go again more business and money and this and that, then desire comes, and then this also a little bit sneaks in again, and then comes tamaguna. You sleep too much, you eat too much, I don't know, you start spacing out, you don't follow your principles properly or whatever, like you suffer in your spiritual life and you go into this tamasic energy, and then all of a sudden I still have this after 15 years not engaging in this, it's still there, wants to come to the foreground because it's associated with the mode of rajas and tamas. And as soon as I get enough sleep, I'm waking up early, I chant properly, I feel sattvic, this habit can't even come to the surface, I can't even think about it. It will be stupid to engage in this. But when I'm on tamas, I think like, this would actually help me because we want to enjoy. Yeah? The main reason of everyone is to be happy. Yeah? The symptom of the soul is to desire. Prabhupada said, without desire, you're dead. Yeah? Without lust, he said, you very liberated, advanced, or you sick. Something is wrong with you. So there's always desires. It's a symptom of the soul, and it's okay to have desires, but we engage any desire with Krishna. We engage ourselves with the mode of goodness and practice Krishna consciousness, and then we are protected. Then tamaguna, rajaguna will be still there because it has its purpose, but we will not be influenced by our habits and desires. And there's some desires you can easily get out, like stopping eating meat, for example. I will never think about it. I can be so tamasic, I will never think about eating meat again. It will never happen, There's some desires we can give up easily, but some desires are so deeply ingrained in ourselves that till the end of the life, maybe till we have a spiritual body, it will be there. Lust will be always there as long as we have this body. Yeah. But we can decide our happiness. We can decide to engage with the mode of goodness. And as long as we living a sattvic lifestyle, we are more protected, definitely. And the habits, you have no attraction, because you associate with the modes. If you associate with sattva guna, you don't have the attraction to these lower habits. Maybe you have in sattvic, you have a habit, you need to study all the time, 10 hours a day, and you can't take care of other responsibilities because you're attached to. But it's at least a sattvic engagement. It's maybe also a habit you want to get rid of. But then we have to, actually the last note I have here, something I read yesterday, I will just quote now, is to overcome even sattva guna, to come on the platform of Vishuddha sattva, of the, Prabhupada said, the Vasudeva platform. And then he said, like Vasudeva gave birth to Krishna, is the father of Krishna. When we come to the Vasudeva platform, then Krishna takes birth in our heart. He's already there, but then we can also see him. Yeah. And this is where we want to go. The goal of life is not to be sattvic and healthy and have lots of knowledge. It's not the goal of life. The goal of life is to use this knowledge, use our health, to use whatever we have in a sattvic way, that we can reach the ultimate platform, what is Krishna consciousness, the Vasudeva platform, Vishuddha sattva. And then there's no speak about bad habits anyways. The only habit would be to chant more, to serve more, to associate more, to go deeper, longing for Krishna. Maybe your only habit would be that you want to enjoy Krishna, want to be with him, want to serve him in any way, see him as his subordinate and you play with him in ecstasy. I should talk to the camera actually, not to you. Yeah. I felt like you asked the question. So yeah, that should be our habit. And it's a good habit. Path to Krishna. Bhakti. Love and devotion. Okay, thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki chai. Shri Prabhupada ki chai. Gaura Bhaktarinda ki chai. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki chai. All of those who go to Harinam at 10, I wish you a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. And everyone else, I wish you an even better day here in the temple.